Greetings, rising fifth grade families. We're excited to have your kids up in the student union next year, so I wanted to share a few important details as you make this transition. Since this presentation was originally offered on STEAM Night, I figured we'd start with a little bit of brain science. So, the prefrontal cortex, which is the area of the brain that deals with critical thinking, reasoning, time management, planning, decision making, and impulse control, it actually doesn't fully develop until people are in their 20s. But what many don't know is that it actually starts going through a pruning process that starts around age 11 or fifth grade that continues into early adulthood. So we recognize that when we start working with middle schoolers, that not only do they have some of these skills yet, but they may actually start losing some of the skills they've already built. So we really work with them in order to challenge them and help them build those critical thinking, planning, and organizing skills. Also, during the middle school years, the brain develops almost as much as during the first 5 years of life, but the growth is focused primarily on social and emotional development. So we really work with our students to give them opportunities to explore their interests, figure out who they are, what they may be interested in the future, help them learn about positive relationships and managing their emotions. Lastly, in middle school, the amygdala, or the emotion center of the brain, takes over, which means that middle schoolers perceive and respond to life through their emotions. So, if you think about it, if you get to the end of your day as an adult, you may talk to someone about timelines and who you talked to and when and what you said. You may talk about facts and dates. But in a middle schooler's brain, they're not thinking about those facts. They're thinking about how everything happened actually made them feel, and when they talk about it, that's how they're talking about it. It's through not just what happened, but it's through how whatever happened actually made them feel. So, considering that, what do middle schoolers need? First off is sleep. Research suggests that middle schoolers have at least 9 hours of sleep. And one thing that people don't realize is that the symptoms of lack of sleep actually mimic the effects of ADHD. So while you may think that if your kid's not getting enough sleep, they may look sleepy, they may put their head down, what we actually see instead is that they're jittery, they have trouble focusing, and they have trouble sitting still. And we see the same types of symptoms when you have high levels of caffeine, sugar, or artificial ingredients in their diets. So, students in middle school really need a daily schedule. As we talked about with the prefrontal cortex, they don't necessarily understand how to structure their time on their own. So, it's really good to set up a daily schedule that has time to get up, what to do next, what to do after that, what time to be ready for school. When they get home, do they do their homework first? How long do they work on homework? And schedule throughout their full day, and that really helps them in the future learn how to manage their own time. Similarly, we actually encourage to have simple but clear expectations for your middle schoolers. Again, if you hand them a new device or they have an activity or you have some sort of plan for them, they may not be able to on their own determine the expectations. So it's best if you create those expectations for them. As far as responsibility goes, we really encourage middle schoolers to have chores, mainly because it starts to teach them that they are just as responsible for their home as you are. And that then translates into them gaining responsibility in other areas of their life, such as with their learning, which we talk a little bit about once we talk about Schoology. Lastly, under responsibility is rewards and consequences. Life in general has rewards and consequences. When you show up to work, when you get your job done, you get a paycheck. If you stop showing up to work or if you don't get your job done, then there are other consequences. So, having rewards and consequences in place now, again, helps children learn how that works in real life. Lastly, is exploration. We encourage students to use this time to explore their interests. We encourage also real social opportunities, so opportunities to engage with their peers, as well as people that are older and younger than them in real social situations and not just through phones and social media. And of course, definitely lots of movement. So let's talk a little bit more about what this looks like at York Prep. So I always like to start with our mission, which is we want to ensure that our students possess the knowledge, skills, character, and determination necessary to excel in their chosen post-secondary pursuits and in life. So that's really what we're working on here is helping them to think about what might be next for them, high school and beyond, so that they have the skills and the knowledge to be successful for whatever path they choose. Now, in middle school, we're going to accomplish these in 4 different ways. So, we're going to start talking about our core classes. And I wanted to really specifically focus on the difference between middle school and elementary. In elementary, the students are taught reading, writing, math, science, and social studies, but the primary focus is on ELA and math. And when you see grade reports and report cards, those are the subjects that are primarily reported. In middle school, however, our students have 5 subjects: ELA, writing, math, science, and social studies. So you'll see assignments for all 5 subjects and grades for all 5 subjects. And then starting in 6th grade, they'll also start receiving grades for related arts. In elementary, they use standard-based grading, which is similar to mastery-based grading in the fact that students are working on specific skills and objectives and then being assessed on their mastery of that skill or objective. The difference is that in standard-based grading, you have grade level standards that are measured at beginning, progressing, or meeting. And you see these grades on their grade reports that you receive on a regular basis, as well as on their report cards. But what happens is that the teacher is working with a student throughout a entire unit on a skill or objective, and then at the end of that unit is then assessing the student's grade level, their mastery level on that grade level standard. In mastery-based grading, however, a student may be in a unit working on a specific skill or objective, but you're going to see all of the grades throughout that process, all of their practice grades, the mastery check grade, which is the final assessment of that particular skill, and then the tests and projects where multiple skills and objectives are put together. Additionally, their grades are going to show numbers and levels. So for us, 80 and above is considered proficient, 60 to 79 is considered progressing, and then below 60 is considered not proficient. And I know that can be a little challenging or shocking for families for the first time because it is a little bit different to see a 20 or a 40 on a report card versus a B, even though they do mean the same thing. Another great tool that we have for you, though, is Schoology. So all of the grades and assignments that your students have are in Schoology, and they are updated on a daily or weekly basis. So you can, at any point in time, go in and see exactly what your student is learning, how they're progressing, how they're working towards mastery, and if there's any comments for those grades that your teacher can put in as well. Lastly, one of the things that I think our 5th graders typically struggle on is learning that they are responsible for finishing and turning in their work. So work completion starts to play an important factor and can actually impact their grades starting in middle school. So if they're not turning in their work and we can't then assess them on their mastery, then you're going to see a 0 in the grade book. Again, I know it can be really shocking to see that grade for the first time, but we really want to make sure that in middle school we have the opportunity to teach them responsibility, and sometimes that means that they're going to make some mistakes along the way. So we really want them to learn from those mistakes instead of focusing on them and getting upset about them. This is just an opportunity for them to learn from them because we want to make them to make any mistakes they're going to make now in middle school rather than waiting and trying to learn these skills when they're in high school where their grade is going to be reflected on their high school transcript. So again, we really want them to have that opportunity to learn from their mistakes and to start building those skills and responsibility. Next is related arts. In elementary, students have one related arts period each day, and they're on a daily rotation. So they may have Monday is art, Tuesday is PE, and so on. In middle school, there are various options, including computers, life skills, band, Spanish, art, engineering, STEAM, and PE. Students take 2 related arts periods each day. In 5th grade, they're on a 6-week rotation. So they'll have 5 different rotations over the course of the year. And during those rotations, they'll get to experience all of our related arts in middle school, which allows them at the end of their 5th grade year, they'll be able to submit a request of what related arts they would like to take in 6th grade. Starting in 6th grade, students are in related arts on a semesterly basis. The only exceptions are band, which is a year-long course, and then starting in 7th grade, students can take Spanish for high school credit, and that is a year-long course as well. Next is 7 Mindsets. I won't go too much into this because we use 7 Mindsets K-12. So your students have probably started talking to you about the 7 Mindsets lessons that they do now in elementary. We have weekly lessons here in the middle school on the different mindsets, and then it also helps us frame our conversations with our students. And then next is LEAP opportunities. Now, I was an English major, so I love an acronym. So LEAP stands for Learning Experiences for Ambitious Patriots. We have a lot of different events and activities for our middle schoolers, but they look a little bit different than they used to in elementary. We really try to create opportunities for kids that help them build certain skills. So that's anywhere from pep rallies and our family nights where kids are learning how to encourage and support each other. We have Job Shadow Day, where 7th and 8th grade actually gets to go on the job and shadow a career. We do service drives so that they can learn how to support and help others. We do themed weeks that sometimes are more fun oriented, like Patriot Days, but also focus on things like kindness and gratitude. And then we have a wide variety of grade level activities. I listed just a couple of here, such as career speakers, high school presentations, Winthrop Visit, and the Hornets Book Bus. Lastly, just wanted to mention a couple of supports in place for your students. My name is Rebecca Kick. I'm the middle school principal. Our assistant principal is Shannon Beltakis. Other resources that we have available for your students, our school counselor is Ashley Brown. Our behavior interventionist is Ben Roberts. Our nurse is Brittany Dover. In reception, Jessica Green is over in the middle school building, and Amy Naconi is over in the student union. And our instructional coaches that work in a couple of different ways with students, they'll pull groups outside of class for students who need additional support, but they also are in the classrooms helping our teachers work through their data and adjust instruction, and they'll work with small groups in classes as well. And that's Miss Ross, Miss Hargrove, Miss Williams, and Miss Strickland. The last thing here, and I'll put it also in the description of the video, Schoology, as I mentioned, is a really great resource for our kids and our families to help keep up with all the assignments, activities, and grades that your students have in middle school. But we also put a lot of information out through Schoology. Anything related to the middle school goes out in the middle school group. And then anything related to your student's grade level is in the class of 2032. Can you believe that? Class of 2032 Schoology group. So these are the join codes for these two groups. When you log into Schoology, if you go to groups, there's a link to join a group and you can put in these codes there. We definitely encourage all of our families to join those groups so that you can learn all about what's going on in the middle school as a whole and with your students' grade level. Again, we're super excited to have your kids join us next year. It's a crazy transition sometimes for our kids going from elementary to middle, but it's also a really exciting and fun time as well. It's a great day to be a patriot. Have a great day.